All right, let's see if we can get this screen a moving, and we will go forward, I guess. All right, Lisa's saying 5x5, Texas Raider, Jacob, and I can't even see my screen yet, but you guys can hear me. Amish at Heart, and here comes my screen. Finley the Dog, Matt Vanderhoff, Krista J, Silicon Valley, Thrill Hunter. All right, cool, you guys can see me. Happy Veterans Day Saturday night, guys. Hope y'all had a good Saturday. Hope y'all thanked a veteran today. Thank you for all the warm wishes that you gave me here for Veterans Day, and thank you for all the warm wishes you gave both me and Mrs. P for our 8th anniversary. So appreciate that from everybody. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah, it's been a very uneventful week here. I finally made it back to my chair over here. I can finally move a little bit without Mrs. B having to drag me off a heating pad, and I can actually move a little bit in my sleep. So back's feeling a little better. I'm getting there. I'm not running any marathons anytime soon, and trust me, walking is not something that I want to do a whole lot of. It's just sit on a heating pad, icy hot, I'm good to go. So slowly getting better, but yeah, it's one of the perils of getting old. We all know it. It's like, all right, mind still thinks you're in your 20s. The body says, you know what? You're not. And so, you just overexert yourself, but that's part of doing things. So you start moving around and lifting, and is what it is. Hey, I'd rather have it happen now than have it happen later, put it this way. I mean, not that it can't happen again, but all right, move on. So, yeah, the fun one today. Anybody catch our illustrious idiot in chief laying the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers today? As per normal, Joe got lost. I mean, the man is just an utter embarrassment. It's, you know, I just look at this and go, the rest of the world has got to look at the United States and just, I mean, they only can have one question: what happened? You know, I mean, the U.S. doesn't have the world's greatest reputation around the world anyway. But you look at the people around the rest of the world and they go, are the people in the United States that stupid that they elected this guy? And I have two answers. One, he wasn't elected. And two, yes. So, that even if there were still 40 million people that actually voted for him, that means we still have 40 million idiots. But it'll be interesting to see what happens next time around. I know a whole bunch of people say there's not going to be elections in 2024 or whatever. That's fine. You guys, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Okay. Uh, but all I know is we are less than a year away from all hell breaking loose, because it doesn't matter what happens if we have an election or don't have an election next year. Whoever is in there January of 2025 is going to be pretty much the most hated person in the country. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or whichever loony left candidate is still around. I mean, come on, think of all of them. But you'll have the left come out, and if Trump wins, it's like, oh my God, he's going to lead us into World War III, and all the crap that we put up for the last 4 years. And if any Democrat wins, all you're going to hear is cheat, 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 cheat. And so, it's like, what's the point anymore? The the two sides, there is no middle anymore. The two sides will never meet. And I've said this before, we are way too polarized as a country to keep going the way we are. It's just every day we get closer and closer to balkanization, and I keep on saying, bring it on. It's time to break this country apart. And, you can have the conservative states of America and the communist states of America, and everybody can move wherever the hell they want to go. That's just the way it is. So, All right. Yeah. As exciting as it is, that's it. So let's get into Q&A. We'll go over kind of what we do here. Questions and answers. If you guys have questions for me, please put your question in all caps. It makes it easier for me to go through the chat room here so I can see the questions, get to more of them quicker than otherwise. It's like every other channel does, guys. So this shouldn't come as any surprise to people. However, I do encourage everybody to participate, have conversations amongst yourselves. Just keep that in lowercase. That way we can keep multiple conversations going on at the same time, and I know what's directed at me. The one thing I absolutely require is that we treat each other with respect and dignity in here. Okay. And I will say this, we had an issue that came up a couple hours ago. I want everybody to understand. I put up the chat room 4 or 5 hours early because I know a lot of you guys like to participate in fellowship long before we start, and I think that's great. And I appreciate the moderators going in there early, but understand this. The mods are a direct reflection upon me. What they say goes. The end, okay? Don't question the mods, anything like that. If they make a decision, that decision is as though it's coming from me. End of story. They have that position because I trust them implicitly, and I will back up whatever decision they make regardless. So, I appreciate people bringing things to my attention, but if the mods have got it under control, the mods have it under control. That's what they're there for. So, all right, let's get into Q&A, and we will get back up here to the top and see what's on y'all's mind. Could be God knows what here tonight. All right, Gizmo, Mr. P, and every vet and their families, thank you for all my freedom because of your service. You are most welcome. So, and there's a lot of people, a lot of veterans inevitably in here who deserve a lot more credit than me. I mentioned them in the video today. You had guys who were drafted who marched through the jungles of Vietnam. Every time I see somebody that's got a Vietnam veteran hat on, I mean, granted, when this was going on, I wasn't even 10 years old yet by the time the war ended. And, but I make an extra effort to go and tell them thank you because that's something that's a long time coming. They deserved it a long time ago. And the fruitcakes in this country, the liberals, okay, again, pissed on them when they came back. And, y'all know my opinion of a liberal. I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. So, let's see. Don Hill, I'm glad to hear your back is feeling better. Yes, I can actually turn and twist a little bit, so it helps. I'm still slow. That's it. But trust me, you did not what was it? Wednesday morning, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't sit up. It was terrible. But I know a lot of you guys have been there too. You throw out your back, it sucks, but it happens. And I mean, a funny thing, I don't know, maybe I said this in a video. I got a call from my daughter the other day, and she broke her foot. And of course, it has to be her right foot, so it means no driving. Obviously, she works in an emergency room on her feet all day, so that doesn't work. And she's got another interview for school next week. So she's either got to go into an interview on crutches or one of those things where you put your knee on it and roll yourself. So, yeah, it's like the pinball family here. We're the walking wounded this week. Let's see. Sword says, thank you for your service and happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you. David Haley, I feel for you, bro. I know back problems suck. I've been in traction before for my back. That sucks. That was 20 some odd years ago. I mean, come on, guys. I'm 6'8". It's like, how many of you have ever had somebody say, "Oh, make sure you duck your head before you go through that door"? I hear that all the time. Okay, getting in and out of a car is a little more difficult. Just finding something you fit in is a little more difficult. And, when I got to bend over to pick something up, it's a long way down. So it just kind of comes with the territory. You deal with it. Sherry, Florida boss girl, what do I think about the internet vote the FCC is doing Wednesday? Carr opposes Biden's plan to give the administrative state effective control of all the internet services and infrastructure. That is going to be really interesting to see what happens, because from what little I know about this, basically the government wants to control anything that's on the internet. And I've said many times before, this is how they do things. They put something in place knowing it's unconstitutional, but know that it's going to take 6, 8, 9, 12 months to get through the system before the Supreme Court hears it. And then the Supreme Court says, sorry, violation of the First Amendment. No, you can't do this. And they go, well, we've already been doing it for 12 months and companies have already adjusted and people have changed their ways of doing things. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those where if they vote to make it a bill, somebody needs to literally walk from Congress or walk from the White House and go straight to the Supreme Court and say, you need to read this right now, and it needs to be stopped. We'll see what happens. But again, this is the Biden administration trying to make the government in control of everything. And, that's communism. And, people don't understand it. When the government runs everything, that's communism. And I'm not a communist. I'm a socialist. No, socialism is communism light. Okay. The goal of socialism is communism. It's just, you talk to these people and they are so flippin' stupid. And I wish I knew how to, it's like you sit down and on the couch and, you just go, I wish I could hack into CNN and just rebroadcast for 24 hours the truth, and not sugar-coated, not, Fox News, oh boy, pretty, this is, no, balls to the wall, in your face. This is how it really works, and, maybe you wake up a few people, again, like I've said many times. I mean, I laugh with you. If you ain't black, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, please, black community, I've said this 100 times. Tell me what the Democrats have ever followed through on the promises they've made. Ain't none of them, Give me this. How's that student loan forgiveness going for you guys? Another failed promise. They bought your vote. They buy your vote every 4 years. And you go, they'll do it for me this time. Nope. And then 4 years later, they'll do it for me this time. And you keep falling for, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Trust me, the Democrats are never going to follow through on a promise to help you. They want to, how's the term go? Keep you in chains? Yeah, I think that's what Joe said. And that goes for the rest of us too. Let's see. Yeah, north of the 52nd, back problems often plague tall people. Hello. Okay. Joan Smock, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Thank you for saying as much. Carl Lynn, our representatives don't represent the majority. See, and you were spot on for that. Okay. And I'll take the other side for this for a second. Okay. And hear me out on this. The abortion issue. And I know this is one that is so polarizing around the country. Okay. And everybody was screaming bloody murder when Roe versus Wade got overturned and the Supreme Court says it goes back to the states, right? Everybody was screaming bloody murder. It's like, oh my God, you're going to outlaw abortion. No, that's not what it did. And the conservatives were all rallying and going, yay, they outlawed abortion. No, that's not what happened. It went back to the states. Okay. And so now the states come up and they're holding referendums, and look what happened in Ohio on Tuesday. And the people of Ohio voted 2-1 to allow abortion in Ohio. Okay, abortion's legal in Ohio. Great. Doesn't, like I said earlier today, doesn't affect me. Mrs. P and I aren't having any kids. Okay, we don't, not worried about having an abortion. Okay. The only thing that I will say, most conservatives are against abortion. So just because the law says you can do it doesn't mean you have to, first off. But then again, I'll throw this logic at you. Liberals are the ones that get the abortions most of the time. I got no problem with liberals not reproducing, okay? That's a good thing. So, it's why do we want to, I say that jokingly, but there's a lot of seriousness in it too. All right. But yeah, our representatives not representing the majority. Though there's the other problem. People bitch and moan, go, my congressman sucks, my senator sucks. Okay, who'd you vote for? Same guy. You hear Mitch McConnell has got what, a 9% approval rating, yet he wins re-election. How? Okay. Well, he's the one that's on the ballot. If you know how to spell, you can write somebody else's name down there. You're not just limited to those 2 names that they put on there, okay? And that may happen big time in 2024, because if the GOP comes up with some BS reason to keep Trump off the ballot, his name's going to get written a whole lot on November 5th. So, make sure you know how to spell Trump. It's simple, Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat. 8187 U.S. Army Reserve 94B Bravo Cook, basic between junior and senior year, Cook School after graduation. Fort Jackson, Fort Lee, split option program. Thanks for your service, Pinball. There you go. Thank you for yours too, because the support guys are never the ones, they don't make movies about the support guys. It's always the fighter pilots or the grunts or the tankers or something like that. That's like 10% of the military. 90% of the military is support. And I'll tell you what, without guys like Jeffrey here or me, okay, Jeffrey will know this term, REMF, REMF, okay, rear echelon mofo, we'll leave it that way. Without the support guys, the guys up front don't do squat. Jeffrey being a cook, yeah, it's like, oh, geez, just a cook. Right. Tell me how far the infantry is going to go if they don't have food in their belly. Yeah, okay. So anytime somebody disses somebody for their job in the military, tell them to shove it. Okay, because they're all there for a reason. It's a team effort, kind of like prepping. We all know we can't do it on our own. Military works the same way. BJK, I caretake for my immobile parents in their 90s. I only wish I could make it to my 90s. Impossible to bug out if needed to because they wouldn't have a chance. Ideas. Then you do what you can to make the hill you have where you're going to put up your last stand. Okay. I mean, that's me and Mrs. P. This is where the only way we're leaving here. I've said this many times. If the forest burns down or the Chinese come over the hill, that's it. Okay. If I got a bunch of Antifa pricks coming down the street, it's just going to be a shooting gallery. Okay. A bunch of Chinese pricks coming down the street, it's going to be a shooting gallery too. I just probably won't survive it. But I mean, I'm not going to be suicidal and go, gee, my house is on fire. I'm just going to sit inside it. Okay. But chances are, no matter what happens, this is the hill I'm dying on. And so I have made as many preparations and still more going on to defend this to my last breath. Old hippie 60, are you having a drink to ease the pain? Yeah, non-alcohol beer. How about that one? Yes. Jean Boudreau agreed the 2025 president will not have it easy. No, I mean, it it's an absolute thankless job at this point. I mean, because of the polarization that's been caused, that was caused by Obama. Okay, they can say Trump divided this country, whatever. Obama divided this country. All right, and then Trump got into it. We were already divided, and then they just kept going on the Obama crap, and it got divided more. And Biden's just a third term of Obama. So, yeah, I mean, the whole point of this is it's division. This is it. I've said this countless times as well. Divide us by race, divide us by religion, divide us by income, divide us by whatever you can. Political party, obviously. Divide, 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 divide. Why? Because the individual is easier to control than the group. It's funny, Mrs. P and I were having a conversation this evening, and she was watching something on the drug trade in eastern Kentucky and western West Virginia, and how the cartels are in there. I'm listening to these interviews. It's like guys saying 60 to 70% of the people in his local area are meth addicts or whatever. And and I was telling her, I said, you got to think about it. One of the big reasons that this is all being pushed on, I mean, again, we're going to remember this. Liberals have no moral compass. None. Okay. They have no morals. This is why they are so adamant against religion. Anywhere that teaches morality, liberals are against. Okay. But you think about why empires have fallen in the history of the world. Okay. And you can trace back things that are common to them. They legalize gambling, they legalize drugs, and they legalize prostitution. Okay? When I was a kid, the only place you'd go to gamble was Las Vegas. Maybe they had scratch tickets in states or something like that. That was about it. I mean, now it's something like 2/3 of the states you can go find a casino, all right, to play. Gambling has got mainstream. Okay, I mean, we got Powerball and all this crazy stuff, that is, flat out gambling. Drugs. Oh, what is it? Nearly half the states now legalized marijuana. I think it was Oregon or Colorado, one of those two legalized magic mushrooms. I told her, I said, I'll bet you within 10 years cocaine's legal. Okay. Then you get into the prostitution side of things. Hey, you don't, I mean, think about this. Gambling, drugs, prostitution. Where's all this starting? Is it in red areas? Nope. Okay. Lack of moral compass. And why do they do that? Well, and I joked to her, I said, yeah, I said, you can see me come home. Yeah, honey, I'll be home from the grocery store soon. I'm just going to stop up, pick up my bag of dope, and hit the brothel down the street on the way home. But I'll be home around 8. Right? Okay. Why not? It's totally legal, no moral compass. And so family units break apart. Gee, that wouldn't be the policies, what the left is trying to do. Ask the black community about, the family unit, the nuclear family, how that's going. No, have more kids, you'll get more welfare. That's the policy. Okay? Because if they can destroy the groups, individuals are easier to control. And if you haven't figured that one out, that is the plan to make us all individuals and nobody has anything in common with anything else, it's easy to steamroll us all. That's why we talk about mags and community and everything like that, because we are stronger as a group than we are as individuals. Moving on. Silicon Valley, California. My condolences. Thank you for your service. Do you recommend a drone for preppers living in the city? I've got one for myself. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's anything that you can stick a camera on. You don't need one that can start, you see all this stuff about Amazon packages. Oh, it can carry a package. And guys are like, hey, you know what? Cool. I can drop explosives or rig it up so it's got a gun on it. No, that's not going to. As long as you can get a camera on the thing, it's great for surveillance because I can fly the drone, say quarter of a mile, half a mile up the street, and I can see what's going on down there. Gee, there's cars coming. I've got a half a mile's notice. Granted, that may only be 30 seconds or something, maybe a minute, but in a minute's notice, I can get a lot of stuff set up rather than the first time I notice anybody's coming through and there's bullet holes in my windows. Yeah, I'd recommend a drone for anybody just to use it for security. Tony Hoadley, thank you for the super chat and thank you for the anniversary wishes. Ken Harrison, Pinball, have I heard anything about the digital ID for anyone? It's something I'm looking into. There's a deal one of y'all sent me on the 550 program, and that's big on the digital ID. I think it's supposed to be in play now. They're saying 2030 that 50 countries are supposed to sign up, and there's already like a dozen of them or 17 of them or something. I don't remember. That they're all going to have a universal, these 17 countries, they want to get to 50, are going to have a universal digital ID. So, you wouldn't have a Tennessee driver's license, you'd have a U50 driver's license. And just saying, for example, it works anywhere in the United States and you can drive in Colombia as well with it or whatever. It's the same. This is what they're trying. There's a whole lot of this, but this is all the globalists with their digital ID, digital currency, no freedoms. You do whatever we say. This is it. Yeah, they keep trying it. And again, as we've all said, the answer is real simple: is no. Sorry, not getting a digital ID. Well, you have to have one if you want to, I don't know, pick something. They're not doing that. It's simple as this. If enough of us say no to it, it dies on the vine. It's kind of like the arm ticket, okay? Enough people said no to it. What was it? The latest booster or whatever it is, 2% of the population has taken it. Enough people are going, no, and so now they've got to come up with something else. It's like, crap. What can we convince them to do different? Because we need to keep that cash flow running. It's a matter of people using this and going, doesn't make sense to me. Not doing it. Wanda Anthony, wow, recovering from a double mastectomy. Well, usually, and I'm not going to say this is the reason, but usually that's a cancer situation. So hopefully that helped. That was the reason. But prayers for you. Do what you can and make it through it. So. Kathy Acevedo, happy anniversary. Thank you. Juju Mama, do you or have I ever grown peanuts? No, I have not. I've thought about it, but I've never done it. So, and I think the reason I've never done it is just because you need to use quite a bit of land to get any sort of decent crop for it. And I'm not going to use an entire garden just to get maybe a couple of pounds, even if it's 5 pounds of peanuts or something like that. It's not a high yield enough crop for me to justify using the garden space. Buzzard Prepper, thank you for the service to our country. How are you liking my new solar generator setup so far? I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, so right now it is strictly for backup power because I don't have the solar panels put on the roof yet. I have the solar panels, they're in the garage. I just need to find somebody that can put them on the roof because I'm not crawling on. First off, I'm afraid of heights, and second off, I'm not crawling on a roof that's pitched like this. Okay, I'll let a professional do that. Once I get that done, then I can use it to kind of get off the grid. But right now, batteries are fully charged. If the power goes out, I just get on my phone actually and go think, change a bunch of circuits, and I've got power. So in that respect, yes, I love it. Do I know I'm going to make a change? Yes, I've told you about that. When the water heater goes out, I'm going to replace it with a propane water heater, put 2 different circuits on there. So like everything else, it's there's bits and pieces and parts that have to go to it. You have to think your way through it, and then maybe you're making some changes on it. So, would I do it differently? No, I think this is the right way for me to go uh, for what I believe is going to happen. Okay? And maybe people disagree with me, and that's fine. But that's why I say all the time, there isn't a one size fits all to prepping. What works for me may not work for you. Down to the bottom, let's find out where it was. Do 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 do. Come on. All right. Sassy123, Happy Veterans Day. Howdy from Oregon Coast. Have I heard of 1440? Unless you're talking about 20 minutes to 3 in the afternoon. No, I haven't. So, yeah. Can't say I know what that is. Robert, no. Me in stretch pants in a yoga class. Not happening. Fastball 2611. Yes, I did. Pinball, did you see Moody's just put a negative credit outlook on the US? Yeah, I did. So now all three, well, I think Moody's still kept us kept us at AAA, but they've got us on a negative credit outlook. And I think the other two, I mean, we've been a AA plus, I forget which rating services, since 2011. By one of the other rating services. I mean, again, that was under Obama, but yeah, I mean, it's no surprise to anybody except if you have a job in Washington that we're broke. So, Vicky Savage, in my opinion, the Democrats make promises like Lucy Van Pelt holds the football for Charlie Brown. There's about the most accurate analogy you're going to get. Yeah. Paint that would be a good political cartoon, you know. Amanda Wilkerson, taxation without representation. That's where we are again. Yeah, absolutely. Like I told, if you guys saw the video I did, I think it was yesterday, on the new tax brackets. You know, hey, income goes down, taxes go up. But we're fighting for the little guy. Yeah, the little guy now that makes $47,000 a year, median income's around 55. So if you make less than the median income in the United States, you're considered rich. Because remember, Joe's only going after the rich folk. $47,000 is now what the IRS considers rich. Feel rich? In this account, $47,000, by the time you're done paying, having your Social Security, Medicare, and your withholding tax, maybe you are getting $800 a week. That's rich. A Cushnet Prepper, what's in the box behind you? This is actually a box for something you guys will see next week. So, yeah. Told you. There are more coming. So we were supposed to have one today, and I never heard back from them. So, yeah. Let's see, when is the 15th? Yeah. What came in that box, you'll know about on Wednesday. That's how that one goes. Let's see. Fat Daddy's outdoor cooking. What all do I have growing in my garden? We have spinach, carrots, onions, and garlic. Right now, the only thing I've got in my garden is my garlic that is planted. So that is done, but nothing else will get planted till January now. So I see Deb said, I'll catch what I missed on the replay. Got here just in time to hear PBJ hurt her ankle. No, she didn't hurt her ankle. She broke her foot. So it got a little worse. So I don't remember what bone she told me, but she's in one of those damn air casts. Okay, we just talked about that. Dottie A, there was an emergency summit today with 47 heads of Arab countries. Okay. The only thing I'm going to question here is if the number's right. I can't believe that there's 47 different Arab countries. Uh, yeah, I'm not, don't quote me on that, but that would mean something like a quarter of the population, a quarter of the countries in the world are Arabic countries. That's just not possible. Old hippie 60, how did PBJ break her foot? Going down the stairs. She was apparently walking down the only thing I can think of is it had to be just like steps, because she lives on the first floor and she said she was going to the grocery store. I've never seen a second floor grocery store, so my guess is she's got to have steps in front of her apartment or something. And so she rolled her ankle and broke her foot. Don't ask me. Estatine 85, my husband said there was already election tampering from Tuesday. Yeah, they've already shown that. In Pennsylvania, you had 2 counties where you had the machines flipping votes from, get this, red to blue. Doesn't it amaze you that we never hear stories about votes getting flipped from blue to red? But Pennsylvania had 2 different counties on opposite sides of the state that was going on. And I've heard other comments that people said the same thing as in Kentucky, but I have not seen that reported by any reliable source yet. Let's put it that way. Jen, South Middle Tennessee. What are my thoughts on the World Health Organization? Well, considering the leader of the WHO is a criminal and not even a medical professional, that pretty much tells me all I need to know. When the number one guy is a wanted, I'm not say wanted, but known thief and has no medical training whatsoever. Yet he's leading the World Health Organization. And I'm supposed to listen to this guy? Nah. Angela Teichner, what if they don't leave a blank for write-ins? They do on every ballot. So, and if there's, if something's confusing to you, that's what the poll workers are there for. Go, I don't want to vote for any of these people. I want to write somebody in and show me how to do it. Gee, maybe they'll give you a paper ballot. Robert Bates of The Who, an amazing band. Okay. I gotta get back to where I was. Find where I was. Okay. Country Humans Network. Do I know the Trump tax cuts expire in 2025? What do I think will happen? Well, I pray to God that we have Trump back in 2025 and he can have the GOP Congress, both House and Senate, roll them out and make them permanent or something like that, move on again. The fact that a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the Democrats are won on Tuesday." I mean, that's good spin. Okay, like I said, oh, we won Kentucky, but you kept the governorship, BFD. Okay, you won a couple of houses, you flipped the house in Virginia. Okay, it's a blue state anyway. Nobody really cares. Virginia is quickly turning it. At least East Virginia is quickly turning into a liberal shithole. Nobody cares, they'll destroy it for themselves and they can live in their own filth. But the interesting one happening, and you guys talked about it today, Joe Manchin came out and said that he's not running for re-election. Well, that's the Democrats pretty much guaranteeing themselves to lose a seat in the Senate because Manchin's a Democrat and West Virginia is one of the most consistently red states in the last 20 years that you can shake a stick at. So at that point right there, that changes this. As soon as that tells you right now, the election goes in at 50-50. chances are very good that John Tester loses in Montana. So if that flips right there, you have a Republican Senate. And as long as the GOP can hold the House, that's all they need to do. So the big thing is Trump's got to win. Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat. He says, I realize you spend your super chats mostly on Christmas community funds, but like you, I spoil my kids, Bubba and Maisie, or so, and so maybe a hint, hint. Okay, so dog treats. Yes. There we go. Okay, moving on along. Thank you, though. David Haley, I believe that within a year of the 2024 elections, this will no longer be one country, but a minimum of three. That's fine by me. I mean, honestly, that's fine. I see it as the way I can work out a map to roughly as I see five, but that's fine by me. You know, I'm sick of supporting California. I'm sick of supporting New England. No offense to you guys that live there, but you know, New York is a cesspool, and Boston is just a drain on the rest of Massachusetts economy. You know, so you know, the one thing about this, when this happens, it's not going to be drawn by the state lines, guys. It's not like, oh gee, you know, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, or whatever. That's going to be all one country, you know, if you will. It's not going to work that way, because you take Boston, you know, I mean, I lived in Massachusetts for a while, okay? And you go anywhere west of about Lowell, and it's very, very red. You go anywhere east of Lowell, and it's very, very blue. The problem is that's maybe 40 miles inland off the coast is blue, and the other 200, whatever, some odd 300 miles of the state is all red, okay? Landmass, you look at a land map and you go, Christ, the Republicans, the conservatives are all over the place. And I'm going to reiterate this again. I'm not a Republican, guys, okay? You know, it's just they are closer to the conservatives than the Democrats would ever be, okay? I'm a conservative. But that's why I said, you know, it's not going to be drawn by state lines. Look at New York. New York City makes all the decisions for the entire New York State. New York City is a blue shithole. The rest of New York State, pretty red, you know. But, you know, or Illinois, you know, Chicago and the rest of the state. You know, that's why it's not going to be drawn by state lines. There's going to be slivers, and you're going to have equal population. You're just going to have, you know, 1/1000th of the, you know, half the population is going to live in 1/1000th of the land mass. So you're going to have these teeny tiny little countries. You know, Rhode Island would look big, but you know, then you're going to have, you know, these pretty much, let's say, the entire Southeast. You know, so from Kentucky all the way to the Gulf is going to be one country. Okay, probably won't break up the states. Okay, gee, I'm sorry. You know, you live in Nashville or Memphis, you don't like it? Go move, okay? Because you ain't staying here. Your beliefs ain't welcome. Okay. North of the 52nd, who said it's not your vote that counts, but who counts the votes? I believe, I want to say that was Joseph Stalin. Maybe it was Vladimir Lenin. One of the two. Yeah. Let's see. James P. suggested surveillance system not dependent on Wi-Fi or the internet. They're out. I'm going to tell you this. They're out there because I've got them. But you're going to have to go look for yourself to find it, because I'm not going to announce on the internet what security system I have on my house. So that wouldn't be good OPSEC. Let's see. Dennis Ross says, happy anniversary. Thank you and all the other vets for your service. Appreciate that. Sue Me says, happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you. Broken Dolly, can you can boiled peanuts? You're going to have to ask somebody else that one. I do not know. I've never grown them. I don't even think I've ever eaten boiled peanuts. So, yes, I know you guys are going to say, then you're not a Southerner. I live down south, but yes, I'm adapting to their lifestyle, not bringing mine down with me. Sam Carpenter, do I till my garden shortly before applying preen weed preventer? Yes, absolutely. You want to break up that soil first, then you want to get the preen down, and just make sure when you're planting, if you put the preen down, just remember you can't plant seeds, you can't direct sow. You've got to put starter plants in, because preen is to prevent germination. Well, if you put seeds in the ground, it's exactly what you're trying to do, is germinate them. So now you got to get your seedlings in there. So talked about that. Rural 2IC, thoughts on the volcanic activity in Iceland? We're going to see more volcanic activity from everything. I mean, there's a ton of this. I'm not spending my time reading U.S. Geological Survey, but there is a lot more earthquake activity and a lot more volcano activity going on, albeit small, than we have had in the last like 70 years or something, I think was what I saw. And so you start looking at that and go, all right, if there's a lot more small rumblings going on, one of those turns into a big one real quick. So, I mean, just specifically what's going on in Iceland, I can't tell you, but as for what's going on around the world, it's something to pay attention to. Boulder Creek, hey Pinball, I received my patches today. The bad boys are awesome. Now I can represent. If you guys don't know, he's talking about these things. Okay. So if you want these, they're $5 a piece. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, $5 a piece, and I'll send them back to you. I got to go to the post office. I was going to go today. I didn't get out of the chair, so I'm going to try to go tomorrow. Yes, I know the post office is closed on Sundays. Post office boxes are I can always access my P.O. box. Let's see. Kay Henderson, we're in southern Indiana. Is it too late to plant garlic? No. You want to plant garlic about 30 days before your ground freezes. Okay. Now, if you're south of me, the ground's not gonna freeze, or shouldn't. Okay. So I like to do it after my last frost. Now I know you're north of me, you've already had your first frost, so you're still in the right place. And it hasn't been cold enough yet for the ground to be frozen. So yeah, you're fine getting your garlic in. Disney whoops. I love when I start to read a question, then the whole thing shoots on me. And so we try to get back to the top and see if I can find where I was. Okay. I'll find it. There it is. Disney Up Boiler Up. How are these people not getting in trouble for tampering with voting machines? Because they're protected by the DNC. I mean, that's it. It's no different. How did somebody walk in with suitcases full of ballots at 3:00 in the morning after the polls are closed and they got counted? Oh, those must have been there. We saw them. We knew they were here. We just forgot to. I mean, it's just a crime to cover up another crime to cover up another crime. So, Ed, thank you for the super chat for next year's Christmas fund. We still got to do this year's Christmas fund, so we're good. Let's see. Uh, Susan Musser, any updates on Copper? Copper's doing fine. The infection's gone. We had him on the antibiotics. His hair has come back, so he's doing good. Scott McHugh, pinball. Do I still take Mrs. P to the Russian store? I was at the Russian grocery 3 weeks ago, maybe 3.5. I'm not sure when it was. Uh, Me and my buddy had to go out. We were getting him. This is what I was telling you about, getting him the freezer, and we had to go out. We were within like a mile and a half of the Russian grocery, so we stopped off there and picked up the stuff Mrs. P likes, and so of course it was a surprise for her. So yes, we still go. She just didn't get to go on the last trip because I happened to be literally there, and it's an hour and a half away. So I picked up the stuff she liked. Lucky Dame, no talk about the UN aliving deletion of people, regardless of who it is. YouTube does not like that. Okay, I'm not sure what this is, or unaliving or deletion of people. Okay, I don't know what we're talking about. Sorry. Kent, thank you for the super chat. What do I prefer, freedom seeds or precious metals? Yes. I say that because you only need so much ammunition, okay? And I know you'll get some people who go, how much ammunition do you need? More, okay? I've told you for my numbers, okay? Again, this is my opinion. For a rifle platform, personal opinion, 10,000 rounds per weapon is plenty, okay? That'll get you through any training, and that'll get you through any defense that you're going to need to do. 10,000 rounds is a lot of freaking ammo, okay? Once you get what you think is going to be a good amount of ammo, you don't need to buy more. Buy something that's going to retain its value, because, and I'll just say this for example, the military is changing over from 5.56 to, what is it, 6.5 ammo, I think it is. How long do you think it's going to take till the gun manufacturers start changing the caliber of an AR-15 over to a different caliber? If the government's not buying it, they're the biggest buyer of ammo. They're not just going to make it just for the civilian market. Okay, maybe shotgun shells or something like that's different, but rifle cartridges, my bet is those might go by the wayside 10, 15 years from now, and then they're not going to be worth much of anything. Gold and silver is always going to have value. And I know there's going to be somebody out here who goes, yeah, the Bible says that people are going to be throwing their gold in the streets. I get it. Okay. You ask for my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. All of middle Pennsylvania is red, only east and west is blue. I wouldn't even say that. It's just the Pittsburgh area and the Philadelphia area, because, I mean, if you forget south of Pittsburgh or north of Philadelphia, it's back to red there too. Pac-Man, can we build a wall if that happens? Yeah, we don't. At that point, we're not worried about keeping out the Mexicans. We want to keep out the liberals. Cassandra S., I'm not sure what you're. Do I feel the I-10 fire and now closure? Okay. I need something in that quiet. That doesn't make sense. Linda Town, New York has wanted to divide for years. City keeps us tied. We're very sick of it everywhere. Oh yeah, no kidding. And I mean, it's just like Illinois. The rest of the country, or the rest of the state, wants to have a divorce from Chicago, because I mean, even if you look at the U.S. House of Representatives, you know, how many representatives New York State has, how many of them are in New York City? Okay, well, that's because of the amount of the population, right? But still, somebody who lives in Schenectady is still screwed because of the person that lives in New York City. They don't have the same needs, wants, desires out of their representation, yet you get all the AOCs and Chuck Schumers and all the, that cast of clowns that do everything to destroy a state. Robert Bates, okra is step one about being a Southern resident. No, it's step one about being a Southerner. I'm a Southern resident, but you ain't getting me to eat okra. Not happening. Okay. Let's see. Walter, I know not right away, but how long after using preen can I plant seed? It's about, I'd say, to be on the safe side, wait about 3.5 months. Okay, they say 90 days, but it's not like that's set in stone. If you're going to put preen out in the garden in the spring, plant seedlings. Okay, or at least wait till your seedlings have come up a couple inches before putting it down. You're going to have to do some weeding that way if you want to try to get seeds in the ground. But yeah, I mean, it's the point of it is to stop germination. Annette Williams, do I soak my garlic in something called liquid kelp? Never heard of it. I mean, I can't say I've never heard of liquid kelp. I've never heard of soaking your garlic in it. No, there's no need to do it. Just peel the clove, leave a little bit of the paper on, stick it 2 inches in the ground, move on. You're done. Judy Boer, love my pinball patch. Got it from the last batch. There you go. Let's see. We shot to the bottom again. Okay. Trying to find where it was. Walter, I know. Oh, whoops! I just read that one. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we go. Paprika Pauline, can you plant garlic in grow bags? Sure. I mean, depending on how big your grow bag is, you just want to space them about 6 inches, about 6 inches apart. But yeah, they'll do fine in grow bags. Let's see. Huts John, what's my backup plan if I get arthritis in your hands and can't rack your slide on my 380? Rack my slide on my 9mm, use a revolver. I mean, whatever it would be. It's not like it's the only weapon I've got. Rebecca Stanley, happy Veterans Day and anniversary. How many years? 8, 32 here. Husband said to thank you for the Vietnam War words. He's very welcome. Yes, Mrs. P and I got married in 2015. So, Linda Bopp, getting close to good night time. Thanks, moderators, and thank you for all you do. Have a blessed evening. Okay, you guys do the same? Yeah, it's 9:58. All right, we are close. Kent, what is the best way to keep a building at room temperature when not home and no central air? I don't understand the question. The room is going to be at room temperature no matter what temperature the room is. That's room temperature. So I'm not understanding the question. And we are I am out of questions. I got through everything. Ha ha ha. All right. Well, we will cut it short at 1 minute short. So, all right, y'all. Well, thank you for the evening. You guys have a great Saturday night. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.